Are you prepared? Because it's finally here! The first trailer for the Warcraft movie has been released. Now before we dive in, here's your spoiler warning. This movie is adapting a video game series and so far it's looking to be a pretty faithful adaptation. So if you know the lore, there's probably not going to be many surprises in this movie and I can't spoil anything. But if you don't know the lore and want to go into the movie clean, well, this is not the video for you. In fact, why did you even click this anyway? It says looking too close right in the title. Alright, so now that we're all on the same page, let's take a look at Warcraft. Right off the bat, we've got a nice look at some scenery. Could those be the snowy mountains of Cosmodon this griffin is flying over? And what is this gorgeous looking place? If I had to guess, I'd say it was the Ivory Tower of Karazhan, except there seems to be a pretty elaborate city on the other side of those rocks. Still, Karazhan is supposed to sit on a magical ley line, and it sure looks like there's a bunch of magic flowing towards the center of that tower. And if that is Karazhan, that means that there's a good chance that this is the back of Medivh's head, and that this is Khadgar riding passenger with Lothar, no doubt arriving to ask Medivh about their impending doom. Now, for those of you not already versed in your Warcraft lore, Anduin Lothar will be our heroic protagonist on the human side. He is, or at least will be, the top knight of the Stormwind Kingdom. Medivh is a powerful mage who has a complex and often rewritten history. In the original Warcraft game, he was just a random warlock that you had to take out on the human side of the campaign. It wasn't until later that he was retconned into being a former good guy that went nuts and opened his side of the Dark Portal to let the orcs in. Now, so far, Medivh is listed as an Alliance hero, so the movie may just have him in the role of good guy wizard. Or he may be pretending to be a good guy wizard, but he's going to betray the Alliance during the movie. And Khadgar, well, he's going to be a major power player down the line, but right now he's just Medivh's apprentice. Now this is very clearly Stormwind City, and it's a pretty accurate representation to boot. There in the middle you have the Cathedral of Light, and off to the side looks to be Stormwind Keep, where the king lives. This shot here I'm pretty sure is showing us Khadgar running to meet with the High Council of the Kirin Tor, which is kind of the Department of Magic Administration for the Alliance. Judging from the clouds, it's safe to say that they're based out of the city of Dalaran, which, at least in the movie, appears to have already gone airborne. Here's our first good look at Travis Fimmel as Lothar. I anticipate a lot of scenes with him warning people of their impending doom. But going back to adapting the game map, here we have an attack on Lakeshire, identified by the docks where children throw necklaces into Lake Everstill and the bridge that is continually under construction. You can also tell it's Lakeshire because it's being sacked by orcs, and if there's one thing that's been consistent across 3 wars and a half dozen WoW expansions, it's that Lakeshire has orc problems. Too bad John J. Keeshan isn't around yet. Uh-oh, looks like somebody got backstabbed. And there's an orc warrior using Heroic Leap, and a couple more using Slam. I'm not sure who this is supposed to be. My initial thought is that he was a young Prince Varian, but Varian is being played by an 8-year-old, so maybe this is just some random guy wishing he rolled on a PvE server. So I guess along with warning people of impending doom, Lothar is also going to spend a lot of time somberly kneeling over evidence of impending doom. And here we have our first good look at King Lane Weird. Spoiler alert, he's probably not going to have a lot of happy moments in this film. Now that we've gotten a good look at Azeroth, here's a taste of the orc homeworld Draenor. Our point of view character on this side of the story will be Durotan, who, like Lothar, will probably work very hard to keep the orcs and humans from fighting and see very little success for his trouble. Neat shot of an orc camp here. There's not much to say about this lore-wise since, as they say, it's all about to be ruined anyway. The principal conflict here is that Draenor is a dying world and that the orcs are invading Azeroth as a last-ditch effort to save themselves. In fact, this demonic-looking explosion could be the Dark Portal exploding into existence on Azeroth. So the orcs are settling down, with Durotan bringing his giant freaking Frostwolf with him. Standing next to Durotan there is Orgrim Doomhammer. You can tell that's him because of the big-ass hammer he's carrying. These guys are best buds, but they're gonna have pretty different opinions on how warlike their people should be. For instance, look at how hard they've rocked Westfall down there. And you can tell it's Westfall because they actually put a Harvest Watcher down there in the field. And that is a very green baby Thrall. Chris Metzen is co-writing this movie, so I'm surprised that he hasn't found some way to make baby Thrall the main character and have him save everybody. Here we have Durotan and his mate Draka. As you will soon see, they are going to have conflicting ideas about how to best bring up their son. Back on Azeroth, we have Lothar interrupting a meeting between King Lane and his round dish table. No doubt to warn them about their impending doom. And this is King Lane's wife, Lady Teria. She's an original character created for the movie to balance the gender ratio a bit. Don't expect her to get a lot of happy moments either, but do expect her to get a kick-ass fight scene at some point in the movie. Here's another shot of Stormwind, this time with a better view of the harbor. And maybe I'm just seeing things, but it really looks like they took the World of Warcraft map to heart when making this movie. Not only can you see what I presume is Elwyn Forest and Duskwood separated by that river there, but to the far right you can see where both of those areas abruptly transition into Westfall. Now this scary looking guy is Ner'zhul, and his story is a complicated one. Most of the time he's an okay guy, but he's got a lust for power that makes him make incredibly poor decisions. On the one hand, he warned Durotan against drinking Manaroth's demonic blood, and he stepped up when the rest of the Orc leadership had died. On the other hand, he accidentally destroyed his world and ended up having his spirit put in a helmet. Either way, Ner'zhul's story is far too complex to do justice in the movie, but it'll be interesting to see which bits and pieces they take for his character. More shots of Orc war camps, not much to see here. And here is our first look at Garona. Now, in the games, Garona is a half-orc, and what her other half is has been retconned from human to Draenei. Whether that stays true in the movie is anybody's guess, but I can tell you that the movie does have Draenei in it. During this year's Comic-Con, they showed a scene from the movie where Gul'dan uses the souls of thousands of Draenei slaves to open his side of the Dark Portal. Either way, judging by the cage and the chained collar around her neck, it looks like she's gotten herself into some trouble here, presumably in her efforts to defect to the human side. And another good look at Durotan, camped out in the Black Morass next to the Dark Portal. Is it just me, or does it look smaller on this side? One wonders what would happen if they just decided to stay in the swamp. Of course, Doomhammer's about to explain why that's not possible.
For orcs, there is no other life but war.
Oh, okay, well, that settles that. Oh look, Stormwind has ranged weapons. So, it's probably a little too far north to come into play in this movie, and really, if there were dwarves in the movie, we'd probably know it by now. But doesn't this look a lot like Loch Modan's Stone Rot Dam? Well, it looks like Garona managed to talk her way out of the cage. Look at her all decked out in Alliance gear. If I had to guess, based on what seems to be the volcanic Blackrock Mountain back there, I'd say that this is a clandestine meeting in the Burning Steppes between Lothar and Durotan to negotiate peace. Spoiler alert, it's probably not going to work. And this is almost certainly Kagdar flying into Dalaran, as we saw earlier in the trailer.
Can we trust him? They're beasts.
Do you even lift horses, bro? Okay, snow? About the only place on the continent with snow is Khaz-Modan, which is the heart of the Dwarf Kingdom. I'm beginning to be less sure about the lack of dwarves in this movie. And this is Durotan about to punch Gul'dan in the face. He's probably pissed about that whole hooking orcs on demonic magic thing. Now, Gul'dan has never been portrayed as physically powerful, but damn, looks like he's been really hitting up that demonic blood of Manaroth, because his eyes are glowing green and he's all roided up. And now that I've seen a shirtless Gul'dan getting into a fistfight with Durotan, I don't think this movie can have any more surprises for me.
Are you sure about that?
Well, not like positive. Okay, so here's Durotar and Doomhammer, presumably ending their bromance. And here we have Lothar and Garona, presumably starting up their romance. That's new, especially since in the game lore, Garona hooked up with Medivh. And here we have King Lane, Lady Teria, and I'm guessing over there is Little Prince Varian, possibly with siblings? Over here though, I think this may be Medivh. He's old and wearing fancy robes, so it's clear he's a wizard of some sort. And wow, can we just take a second to appreciate how good Stormwind looks in this movie? Okay, so here we have an orc prot warrior getting ready to tank. I love the look on this chick's face. I don't know why it makes me laugh, but it does. And oh snap, here we have some orc on orc violence. Looks like the meeting at Deadwind Pass didn't go down as well as Durotan would have liked. And this is Blackhand, the war chief of the Orc Horde. Unlike King Lane, Blackhand is the dim-witted pawn of Gul'dan, so don't expect him to be quite so conflicted about starting a war. Whoa, since when does charge have a knockdown effect? Bye bye baby thrall. Don't worry, the odds of you growing up as a slave to a truly cruel bastard are pretty slim. He'll be fine.
This is suicide. We have no choice. We should attack with full force.
Oh my god, he just ran in. Save him! Oh jeez, stick to the plane! Oh Jesus.
Wait a second. Back it up a bit. Why in the world is Lothar jumping off of a tower with no shoes on? What possible situation could have unfolded that resulted in this scene? Did he make a mistake while disenchanting? Did terrorists take over the Tower of Karazhan during a Winter's Veil party? And look at this! Riding a griffin into battle, still no shoes. Somebody needs to get this guy some valor points. He needs to gear up before joining this raid. Anyway, that's about all there is to dissect from the Warcraft trailer, so what do you think about this first look at the movie? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe, pass this video around to your guildmates, and have a great weekend!